Hi there, this is Jennifer with Broma Fields, and today I'm going to show you how to flip inside out to knit. And we're going to be knitting in the round. So this is my oversized headband, and we have a rib stitch. So I did knit 1, purl 2 for 7 rows, and then I have you guys flip it inside out so that you can knit for 5 rows and then flip it right side out and then do your knit 1, purl 1 in a broken rib stitch, a broken seed stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that and find my seam here. Here's my seam. It's really hard to see because it's black, but it does create this little hole. So it really is a little hole, and you have to kind of look for it and know to look for it. So I'm very kind of smitten with myself to figure that out, because I am not a fan of purling, but I really like this look, and I think most people do it knitted flat, but I like to knit in the round. So here is my little trick. So I have knitted in the round. Oh, sorry, I'm using Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick yarn with size 11 knitting needles because that's what works best for me. And I have cast on 45 stitches because it's a knit 1, purl 2, so I need it to be in multiples of 3. And then I am ready to flip it wrong side out and knit. I will probably knit for 3 rows, we'll see. But I don't have a stitch marker handy. So that's what I do whenever I'm kind of in a pinch and I need a stitch marker and I don't want to get up off the couch. So I am going to turn this wrong side out. So first I flip my stitches, my needles, from my right hand needle goes to my left hand. And then I flip this around. So now I'm knitting wrong side out. So you have 2 knit stitches and 1 purl stitch. And you could put a stitch marker on your wrong side just so that you mark it, a removable stitch marker. And then you're going to knit into the stitch that you just created, and you're going to knit all the way around. And if you're using the pattern, it is for 5 rounds, 8. Yep, 5 rounds, 8 through 12. So that is it. That is flipping it wrong side out, and then you just knit. So on the right side, you will have all purl stitches, because when we create a knit stitch on the right side, you create a purl stitch on the wrong side. So I do want to go all the way around just so you can see it come together. And I'll probably go ahead and knit a few rows and then come back and show you again what it looks like to go to the right side out to knit in your knit 1, purl 1 pattern. So now we're back to our beginning. Knit a couple stitches there. So you can see it does create, this is a larger yarn, so it's going to create a bigger hole. And if that bothers you, you can go back and seam that, knit up a seam, sew up the seam. All right, so then on this is our right side, so you have a knit 1, purl 2, and then you have all those purl stitches. So I'm going to purl a few rounds and then I will come back, or knit a few rounds, and then I'll come back and show you how I flip it right side out. All right, so I knit for those 3 rounds. Now I'm going to turn it right side out and knit in the broken seed stitch. So again, I'm going to flip it so that my left hand is on the right hand side. So I'm switching it around, and now my working yarn is on my left hand side. And then I can flip that. Well, I don't need to flip it back over. So I can turn this right side out. So I have my knit 1, purl 2, and then I have my purl stitches, and I only did 3 rows. And now I have a broken seed stitch. So I'm going to knit one round all the way around. So I did knit again into that same stitch that I last knitted into. I'm just working these backwards. So this one knit round kind of creates a little valley, and it helps the seed stitch kind of set into the garter stitch. All right, so we have come back around to our stitch marker, and this is where we're going to knit one, purl one all the way around. So that creates that little gap there. So I will probably, because this is a thicker yarn, it does create a pretty big gap versus the little gap that's in this one. So I probably would go through and seam that up a little bit, because that's kind of, I have a pretty long tail here, so I can get away with that, and seam up this side. So that is it. That is how you flip wrong side out and knit all of those stitches, and then flip it back right side out to do your broken seed stitch. Really pretty easy once you see it done. I know it took me a while to kind of get it all, I don't know, to make it, to see it. But once I got it, I was like, oh, that's so easy. That is way easier to do a garter stitch like that. And yeah, it does create a little gap there, but I can close that up. And I'm okay with that. So if you are okay with that, then feel free to flip it right side or wrong side out to do your garter stitch. If you're not, you can purl for 5 rows in the pattern if you do not want to turn it wrong side out. So that will work also. And some people like to purl, so maybe that works better for you anyways. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's new little technique that I recently learned. So and I hope you guys enjoy your headband, because this is one of my favorites, and I really wanted to show you on this yarn, but it's so dark. I'm gonna have to get some of this in a lighter color. It's the Madeline Tosh Chunky, so I really like it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that and found it to be helpful, and thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and one more thing. The reason why, I just thought about this, and I hadn't ever mentioned this before, but I use interchangeable needles, and I forgot that they come in different sizes. You can get them in 5-inch tips or 3.5-inch tips, and I chose to get the 3.5-inch tips. But if you have a set of needles, like a solid set that are not interchangeable, it does have that 5-inch needle tip. And as you can see, that I pretty easily can knit a hat, but if I had the 5-inch tips, that would be a lot harder. So you might think about getting the 3.5-inch tips if you really like knitting hats. I know some of them are a little pricey. I think Knit Picks has a pretty good set for a pretty reasonable price. They always have really reasonable prices. But Christmas is coming up, so maybe that could put that on your list. I know this was my interchangeable set was a splurge for me, because they are very pricey. But I just enjoy knitting hats and smaller, like even leg warmers. I can actually knit a pair of leg warmers with these fairly comfortably with this yarn. So anyways, I hope you guys like that extra tip, and because I forgot that really does make a big difference, that maybe you're having a hard time knitting the hats in the round with 5-inch tips. So anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.